I don't.
Okay,
Which is over from here.
Yeah.
Only.
Just maximize the screen. I think that you can start the page.
Jaya Radha Madhavam Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhavam Kunja Vihari. Gopi Chandra Balavam Srivaradhari. Gopi Chandra Balavam Srivaradhari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Jana Bhava Srivaradhari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we're continuing with our reading from Srila Prabhupada Nectar book. So we left off last week. We finished with number 43, and now we're on number 44 on page 231, if you're following in the book, 231. Uh, 44, realizations. My realization from my personal meetings with Srila Prabhupada. Oh, let's see that he was speaking this. This section is written by Brahmatirtha Prabhu. My realization from my personal meetings with Srila Prabhupada was that he related to me as I related to him. When I was humble, he was very merciful to me. But when I was proud, Prabhupada smashed my pride. When I first met Prabhupada in the Calcutta temple in 1971, I went in and just sat down. He asked me who I was and if I had any questions. I said to him, well, why not Buddhism? I was a wise guy. Prabhupada answered, what does a Buddhist believe? I tried to recall my college course, Philosophy 101. I said something about the Eightfold Noble Path and the Fourfold. I kind of mumbled what I could about the Buddha and said, but I was already defeated because I couldn't even think what Buddha had said. The next time I met Prabhupada was in Mayapur festival in 1972. After first meeting Prabhupada, I began chanting Hare Krishna, and I had become vegetarian. This time I wasn't so proud. I was thinking, actually, Prabhupada may know the answers to all the secrets of life. End quote. I went in to see him with a mood that he was a perfect spiritual master. Although my surrender was only on a theoretical basis, I approached him submissively, the way it says in the Bhagavad Gita. And I was also rendering service while I was staying in Mayapur. Without knowing it, I was following the injunction of the Gita. Therefore, actually, Prabhupada reciprocated by rendering to me the absolute truth. Those conversations are all published in the book, Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. Prabhupada was very, very merciful to me. He even said to me, you are a very good boy. Everyone was boys and girls for Srila Prabhupada, whatever age. The next time I saw Prabhupada was again in Calcutta, but now I was much more respectful. When I went in to see him, he was drinking some coconut juice. The first thing he did was give me some. I entered his room feeling myself very insignificant. Then Prabhupada immediately gave me his own coconut juice to drink. It was a little thing, but it really touched me. Another time I met him in 1973. I was also feeling very insignificant. This was when Prabhupada was in New York at the Brooklyn Temple. He was walking from his quarters to the temple room, and I was standing in the hallway packed with devotees. I was thinking, I hope he doesn't even see me. When Prabhupada walked by, we all offered our obeisances. I kept my head all the way down, saying the prayers slowly to make sure he would he would pass by me at the time. Be sure that he would be past me at the time that I would stand up. But what I didn't know was that Prabhupada had stopped and was waiting for me. I slowly finished the prayers and sat up, and there was Prabhupada right in front of me. He said, "Oh, you're here." He put his arms around me and gave me a hug. Another time, however, Prabhupada smashed my false ego. He was on a walk in Denver, and I joined him. The Audubon said, "Prabhupada's here. Prabhupada, here's that Peace Corps worker. He's here to see you again." On this occasion, I was feeling very proud, thinking, yes, Prabhupada will be very glad to see me. But Prabhupada only said, oh. That was all he said. One time I also met Prabhupada in his room in New Orleans. On this occasion, I walked in insignificantly and sat in the back of the room. I didn't want Prabhupada to see me. The room was full of devotees, including many leaders, so I hid in the back. But Prabhupada saw me, and he paused in the middle of the darshan and said, "Come here." I moved up about a foot. Again he said, "No, come here." I inched forward a little more. Then Brahmananda Swami turned and said, "Come here." I wound up sitting right next to Prabhupada at his feet. He wanted me to sit there. The time I was ready to get initiated, I was proud again. This was in 1976, and I was thinking, now Prabhupada will be so pleased with me. This is wonderful. Prabhupada did not personally perform the initiation ceremony. He was feeling ill, but he was sitting on the Vyasasan and then was giving out cookies. I was not very far away from Prabhupada, and I looked at him directly, thinking, now I'm here. I'm going to be initiated. Prabhupada will be glad to see me. I looked right at Prabhupada because before he had recognized me in New Orleans and in the hallway at Henry Street in Brooklyn. I was thinking, now I will be recognized again. I was actually thinking like that. I can remember when I looked straight at Srila Prabhupada, he looked right through me. Right through me. He didn't even see me. He looked directly through me. It was the most eerie feeling. Prabhupada looking at me and not seeing me. It was the most severe chastisement he could give me for being proud. So I am convinced that Prabhupada related to me as I related to him. If I am humble, he was kind. When I was puffed up, he practically ignored me. Brahmatirtha Das Adhikari. Brahmatirtha.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's number 45. In 1972, Atreya Rishi Das arranged for Bob Cohen, later Brahmatirtha, and his wife to have a private darshan with Srila Prabhupada. Bob Cohen's wife had been coming to the temple for several months, and she was determined that no one was going to make her chant Hare Krishna. She only went to the temple because her husband went. The devotees would say, "Hare Krishna, Barbara," and she would reply, "Hi." There was only her and her husband and maybe 8 or 10 sannyasis in the room that day. Bob offered prostrated obeisances, and Barbara only bowed her head. Srila Prabhupada looked at her and said, "So you are interested in Krishna consciousness?" She didn't understand a word he said. Everything had to be translated for her. Srila Prabhupada spoke for maybe an hour, and Barbara was impressed by him, although she didn't know exactly why. She asked Prabhupada a few questions, but was too new to really appreciate Krishna consciousness at that time. Srila Prabhupada was merciful to her. Later he passed out rasgullas. "Hold out your hand," he said to Barbara, and he placed a rasgulla in her hand. Then it was time for him to leave. Bob Cohen was going to be driving Srila Prabhupada to the airport, and everyone else was leaving the room. Barbara lingered around the room until everyone was out, and then she turned to Prabhupada, folded her hands, looked him right in the eye, and very deliberately said, "Hare Krishna." With an expression of welcome, Prabhupada replied, "Jai." However, Barbara was sure that Srila Prabhupada knew she had never willingly chanted Hare Krishna before, and that this was the first time she had really chanted. This knowing and personal reciprocation seemed very wonderful to her, and she at once became determined to try to become a devotee, which of course she did. Bhakti. Number 46. When Shrutakirti was serving as Prabhupada's personal servant, he often felt embarrassed by the tremendous demonstration of love which the devotees offered to Prabhupada, whereas Shrutakirti himself felt a lack of love, especially in arrival scenes at the airport. Dozens of devotees would be dancing around, chanting, crying, and falling down on the ground. It was an amazing sight of love for Srila Prabhupada. On one of those occasions, while accompanying Srila Prabhupada, Shrutakirti began to feel very sorry for himself. He thought that all these devotees were dancing and chanting here, and here he was walking beside Srila Prabhupada, but he had no feeling, no real love. This began to disturb his mind. One day during the massage, Shrutakirti expressed it to Prabhupada. "Srila Prabhupada, all the devotees have such love for you. It makes me feel so bad. I have none of this love. When I'm with you, I can see everyone dancing and chanting and crying, but I have so much association, and yet I don't feel this is there." End quote. He was hoping that Prabhupada would say something or do something, but Prabhupada said nothing. He went on massaging and finished. Then Prabhupada went and bathed. After putting on his tilak and chanting his Gayatri, Prabhupada called Shrutakirti into his room. "So, do you like serving me?" said Prabhupada. "Oh yes, Prabhupada," said Shrutakirti. I like serving you very much." Then said Prabhupada, "That is love. Everyone can do so many things, singing, dancing, jumping up and down, but you are actually doing something. Isn't that love?" "I guess so, Srila Prabhupada. So you just do your service," said Prabhupada. "That is all that is necessary. That is what love means, to do service." No. I had a similar, not necessarily directly with Srila Prabhupada, but when I was back in Gainesville, before I came to the Miami Temple, I was in Gainesville, and devotees were chanting in the kirtan, and everyone's jumping up and down, and very enthusiastic, and I was not. I was just standing there because I was thinking the same thing. Oh, everyone is feeling so much love for Krishna, so that's why they're chanting and dancing. And anyway, later on, the temple president, that was Sridhananda Maharaj, or Sridhananda, that's the Adhikari at the time, he asked me, why were you not chanting and dancing? I said, because I don't feel anything. Everyone is chanting and dancing and pleasing Krishna and feeling very good. And I'm just waiting till I feel that way, and I'll chant and dance. He said, no, you got it all wrong. You got it all wrong, because we are Krishna's servant. He is not our servant. So first we chant and dance and act enthusiastic for Krishna, and then he gives us a feeling, he reciprocates us with a feeling. So, okay, going on. 47. Vishaldas wanted to give an astrologer and wanted to find an astrologer in Vrindavan. Without consulting Srila Prabhupada, he found one who was wearing tilak and chanting Hare Krishna. Vishal wanted to get something he had seen other residents of Vrindavan wearing, a charm you wear around your neck that has on it all the mantras of the demigods. It was supposed to counteract all the bad influences of the planets. The astrologer sold him one of these neck pieces, and it all sounded very nice. He told Vishal to dip it into the Yamuna and to have an arti at 12 noon. Soon after this, Brahmananda Maharaj noticed Vishal's new ornament. Vishal said, Brahmananda Swami, what's that you have around your neck? When Vishal told him, Brahmananda Swami replied, Prabhupada says we don't have to add anything to the process. At these words, Vishal became disturbed. He thought that Brahmananda Swami was right, and he also felt embarrassed. Why are you wearing this? Brahmananda Swami demanded. Vishal replied that he would like to talk to Srila Prabhupada, and he asked if he could have an appointment. When Vishal went to see Srila Prabhupada asked him how much he had paid the astrologer and what he had said. Vishal said that the astrologer had claimed that the charm would ward off the ill effects of the planets. So Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is beyond astrology, says Prabhupada. If you surrender to Krishna with a slight kick, Krishna can annihilate 100,000 Rahu planets. So Vishal put aside his astrological neck piece that just depended on Prabhupada and Krishna. Soon after, a godbrother showed Vishal a letter he had received from Prabhupada about the same subject matter. Astrology will not save you at the time of death. My Guru Maharaj was a great astrologer and astronomer, but he gave it all up. It is meant for the karmis. We have no interest in such things. Number 48. Little drops of nectar. Tamal Krishna Goswami explains the difficulties of serving at Mayapur when it was in the beginning days. And he and Jayapataka Maharaj had to go out themselves to different parts of India and get wagon loads of stone chips, steel, sand, and cement. Even before obtaining the materials, they first had to get government sanction, which was not easy. It was also difficult to get any wagons or trains since there was a shortage. Somehow or other, they managed to gather some materials, and they proudly sent Srila Prabhupada a photograph. These materials were so precious that the devotees would sleep on top of the stone chips and steel at night to protect them from thieves. Prabhupada wrote back a letter saying, what is the use of so many pictures? Where is the building? Prabhupada gave some money to begin the construction, but he told them that they had to raise all the funds. Why are you sitting there? Prabhupada wrote in another letter to Srila Krishna Goswami. Now go out and collect some more money. Even when Prabhupada donated money, the devotees knew he did not want to, and they felt bad for asking. So, you are all just like widows. Prabhupada told them sarcastically, better you all go to Mayapur and sit there, and I will earn the money and maintain you all. Another paragraph. One day in France, Bhagavan Das and other disciples walked into Prabhupada's room and found Prabhupada looking up meditatively at the chandeliers. Look at the chandeliers, he said. You should make the universal model for the planetarium, just like that. The planets are hanging just like crystals in the chandelier. After serving for a while in India, Giriraj became restless. He approached Prabhupada one day during his massage. Srila Prabhupada asked Giriraj, I have been discussing with Shama Sundar and Tamal Krishna Goswami, and I was thinking that maybe I should go back to the West and preach in colleges and universities to the professors and writers. Prabhupada replied, a devotee may be massaging Krishna's left leg, and then he may think, now I will massage Krishna's right leg. Of course, that is also service to Krishna. But Krishna may feel that he wants more massaging on his left leg still. Well, if that's the case, said Giriraj obediently, if you want me to stay in India, I will stay. That's why I was asking. I wanted to know what you want. Yes, said Prabhupada, India is our most important work right now. Number 49. This is page 238. Right now. 49. Srila Prabhupada tells short stories. Human life means somebody is being killed, so he should be immediately warned, thinking, worried, oh, my turn is coming. Let me go away. There's one story in this connection. Not stories, these are facts. A hunter spread his net. This is the story. A hunter spread his net. Some little birds fell down from the nest, and they were crying. So when the father and mother came, they saw their children in danger. They were caught by the net of the hunter. So the mother immediately jumped over it to save the children, as she also was captured. Then the father saw, now if I go and save them, I will be captured. Let me go away. Let me take sannyas. That's all. That is intelligent. You cannot give protection to your family or your society. Now that was in a lecture, actually. It was a lecture in February 26, 1976. Okay. Next paragraph. Jai Shri Gauranitai, Shri Radha, Vrita Vihari, Jagannath, Balaram, Lady Subhadra, Vishnu, Puadvaran, Ki Jai. I beg to apologize on behalf of my students, and I shall solicit the pleasure of your goodness to visit our temple regularly. One should not be angry and eat his meals on the floor just because someone has stolen his plate. This is a Bengali saying. The logic is that if one's plate was stolen by a thief, he does not become angry and decide not to purchase new plates and instead eat on the floor. Number 50. Prabhupada's personal stamp on ISKCON. Early in ISKCON history, two foolish disciples broke away from the movement and remarked, quote, "This is not the society for Krishna consciousness. It's a society for Prabhupada consciousness," end quote. Another disciple replied, "What's wrong with Prabhupada consciousness? The Guru is representative of Krishna." Prabhupada created the name ISKCON as well as the phrase Krishna consciousness, or as well as the phrase Krishna consciousness, which he coined from a translation of a verse by Rupa Goswami. He shaped the society in his own personal way. He sometimes said that he never demanded that his disciples were dotis, and yet they did. They did because they wanted to follow Srila Prabhupada. A member of the Brahma Madhya Gaudiya Sampradaya and a disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada wrote his purports after the great acharyas like Jiva Goswami and Baladev Vidyabhushana. Yet he was an individual person, thus his society ISKCON bears his personal stamp. His particular viewpoint, for example, on why his godbrothers did not vigorously follow the order of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and why they did not assist Prabhupada when he began to actually spread the worldwide movement. This viewpoint of the history is adopted by Prabhupada's followers. This viewpoint of the history is adopted by Prabhupada's followers. He intended his personal stamp to last long into the future. He worked hard so that things would go on as he had set them up. Even after his departure, he built temples to last for generations, and he built up a school system intending that it would last as he introduced it. He said that his books would provide the foundation of civilization for 10,000 years. These statements by Prabhupada do not exclude the possibility that other teachers may come and make great contributions, but neither should we overlook the fact that Srila Prabhupada is the only founder acharya of ISKCON. A special flavor is found in the Bhaktivedanta purports, and its essence is savored while its teachings are followed by Prabhupada's Parampara descendants. Specific personal experiences of Prabhupada are found in his purports as he drew examples for many teachings. These are also part of the accumulated knowledge which may be called smriti. Do as I am doing, said Prabhupada. It is not that he wanted a cult of personal worship of himself, but because he set the standard for his GBC members and others, he wanted his followers to do as he was doing. His intention was that his followers would work together to keep what he gave. He had received the blessings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he wanted that success to be carried out by his followers. He also gave his own example when he said that any one person can go and open a center as he had done, one man lecturing, cooking, playing, mridanga, etc. He also gave his own life as an example when he encouraged his disciples to go to foreign countries and endure difficulties. He encouraged them by saying that he had done the same thing when he had come alone to America. Every devotee has to develop himself to become a spiritual person And Srila Prabhupada is the best example of that. The Guru is a very personal teacher, and one may differ from another. For example, Srila Prabhupada translated the Nectar of Devotion, and yet in his personal demonstration of Krishna consciousness, he excluded some of the injunctions in the Nectar of Devotion, saying that they were not practical according to time and place. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada emphasizes on what should be done and what should not be done. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada's emphasis on what should be done and what should not be done is an expert selection by an expert acharya. Prabhupada's personal stress on priorities in preaching, such as book printing and distribution, appear not to be simply personal with Srila Prabhupada, and yet they are done his way. Prabhupada wanted that. Srila Prabhupada lived in a very deliberate way as an example, desiring that his followers should do as he did. He also said that his followers should expand beyond what he himself had done. Prabhupada established that a very important aspect of preaching was to defeat the scientist's speculation that life comes from matter. But he left it to his Bhaktivedanta Institute scientist disciples to expand on this instruction and to write books in which the scientists would be defeated in their own scientific terms. Prabhupada encouraged his disciples to paint pictures of Krishna and to become great artists, to build buildings for Krishna and to become great architects and engineers. And all this was done personally under his jurisdiction. So this is section 3 of the Srila Nectar book. So I think we'll end here for today. Continue this next Friday. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.